How's it going, guys? Nintendo Enthusiast here. Today I want to talk all about third-party games that you'd think would be on Nintendo Switch, but they are not. It's a simple concept really, so I'm just gonna jump right in, and you be sure to tell me which games you agree with, or what games aren't on my list but you would like to see on Switch. Number one has to go to GTA 5. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's only one of the biggest games of all time, and you might remember that this is originally an Xbox 360 and PS3 game, so of course it would have no issues running on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure the Switch could run something similar to the Xbox One version of GTA 5, but if not, it could easily handle something closer to the Xbox 360 version, and I'm not sure what challenges that brings up when it comes to the online infrastructure, but either way, I would still love to see the base game of GTA 5 on Switch. Even without the online component completely, I think a lot of people would still pick it up on Switch with just the single-player content alone. Rockstar Games did bring LA Noire to Switch, that was surprising, so it's not like they're completely unfamiliar with the hardware. I think if they wanted to, they could bring GTA 5 to it, no issues, but something is obviously holding them back from doing so. So let's go ahead and jump on into my next game, which is Tomb Raider. And not just the first game, but I would love to see the Tomb Raider trilogy on Switch. That includes Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider actually got Xbox 360 versions, so we know that it would have no issues running on Nintendo Switch. As for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that was a last-gen game only, so that could bring up some issues on Switch, depending on how the game was developed and how well the Nintendo Switch hardware can run it. I'm not much of a tech guy, but I know that would bring challenges if it was originally being developed for more powerful hardware. It's always harder going back rather than forward. I just love this trilogy of games, and I would love more people to pick it up. I don't think it was criminally underplayed or anything, but I do think it just didn't get the recognition it deserved. And Square Enix is always repackaging these games and selling them again. I would love them to do a bundle on Nintendo Switch, all three games, $60, and then the people who typically only play on Switch could check it out. And surprisingly, that is a lot of people. Number 3 goes to The Sims, or The Sims 4, any Sims game really. I'm surprised there's not one on Nintendo Switch. About a year ago, I made a video talking about The Sims and EA's response to people asking for it on Switch. They say they don't think The Sims audience is on Nintendo Switch, which is pretty crazy, especially considering that video I uploaded all about it ended up getting like over 60,000 views and over 300 comments of people saying, I want this on Switch, I would love it so much on this platform. EA just simply doesn't think people want The Sims on Switch, which is pretty crazy. But obviously a game like this would do wonders on Switch. I mean, look at Animal Crossing. The game ended up exploding, and EA could have had a piece of that pie, but now the ship might have sailed, so I'm not really sure, but either way, I think The Sims would be great on Switch. Next up goes to Fallout. Now, this could be Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or even Fallout 4 if they could get it running on Switch. I just think these big open-world RPGs actually lend themselves well to a portable platform. And Fallout 3 and New Vegas especially, I don't think would be hindered by the hardware in any way, so to get those games on Nintendo Switch and to be able to play them wherever I want would be amazing. Now, Fallout 4 obviously was an Xbox One and PS4 game, so that could bring up some issues porting it over to Nintendo Switch, but honestly, Fallout 4 isn't that graphically impressive of a game, so I could honestly picture it on Switch. Now, one thing to remember is that Microsoft owns Bethesda, who develop and publish the Fallout series, so the chances that we'll get it on Nintendo Switch now seem pretty low, but you never know. Microsoft and Nintendo have had a pretty good relationship as of lately, at least it seems like that, so I don't think it's completely out of the question. Now, this next one, it honestly amazes me that it's not on Nintendo Switch, and it is the Persona series. Sega and Atlus have asked, I feel like dozens of times now, let us know if you would like to see these games on Nintendo Switch, and every single post they say that, all I see in the comments are hundreds of people saying, yes, we want these on Switch, this franchise would be amazing on Switch, and if you played Persona 3 Portable or Persona 4 Golden on Vita, then you know this series specifically lends itself so well to portable hardware. Turn-based RPGs are perfect for portables because it's so easy just to put the handheld in sleep mode, come back later, pick up where you left off, and not be confused because it's not like it's an action game like Bayonetta where things can be disorienting right when you jump back in. It's much easier to jump right back into a turn-based game, and Persona is just meant for a handheld. I absolutely love Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, and I think a large part of that was because I love playing them on my Vita. And then with Persona 5, I actually ended up remote playing it to my Vita for like 80% of the game, and it felt right at home. Now, I'm not sure why we haven't seen any mainline Persona games on any other consoles. Of course, Persona 4 Golden and maybe some of the older ones were on PC, but as of right now, PlayStation is the only way to play the mainline series. We did get the 2 spin-off Persona Q games on 3DS, and I never played the second one, so I would love to see that on Nintendo Switch. I just think getting the mainline series on other platforms is long overdue, and I'm not sure if it's because of some deal with Sony and Atlas that keeps the mainline series on PlayStation, but I know a lot of people agree with me that Persona would be perfect on Nintendo Switch. Next up is one that honestly shocks me as well, and it's the Call of Duty franchise. Now, of course, the brand new Call of Duty games would struggle to run on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure that would be a lot of work and might not even be worth it for Activision. However, back in 2016, we did get the Call of Duty Modern Warfare remaster. I would have loved to see that come to Switch the year after that, whenever Switch was out, or even the remaster for Modern Warfare 2. I would have loved to see that on Switch, and we know those games could run on Nintendo Switch, even if they weren't in their full 4K 60 FPS glory that they were on the other platforms. But either way, it's understandable that the new games in the series aren't on Switch. However, I'm actually really surprised that Call of Duty Mobile hasn't made its way to Switch yet either. Call of Duty Mobile already allows you to use a controller to play online, so it's not like playing on Switch would give you some type of benefit that other players don't have. Plus, the game is free to play, and I know a lot of Switch players that would jump into Call of Duty Mobile and honestly probably played on their TV. I'm not sure if you've seen Call of Duty Mobile, but graphically it actually looks pretty good, even blown up on a TV, so I personally would love to see it on Switch. I haven't gotten into Call of Duty multiplayer in like 3 years now, and that's one multiplayer game that I actually used to play a lot of. The last game on my list is the Batman Arkham Trilogy. And I'm not talking about Batman Arkham Knight because I highly doubt that game would run on Switch. I'm talking about Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Origins. Yes, Arkham Origins, the game that WB pretends doesn't exist, which is really strange because it's actually a very great game. I don't understand why it's sort of the bastard child of the series. Yes, it was developed by WB Montreal and not Rocksteady, but it's still just as good as the other games in the franchise, in my opinion. The Batman Arkham games are amazing. I think everyone should play every single one of them, and I would want them on Switch for that reason alone, just so more people would play this series. Batman Arkham Asylum is an amazing Metroidvania, Arkham City has an incredible story, and Arkham Origins has some of the best boss fights and detective features the series has ever seen. All of them are must-play games. But that's it, guys. Those are the games and franchises that I'm surprised aren't on Nintendo Switch, because it really seems like they should be. But be sure to let me know all the games that you think should be on Switch that aren't yet. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.